we back. Why you jump?
I did.
Yes, you did.
You jumped. I did not jump.
All right. So, like we were saying, you have to deal with relationship development issues that comes from our parents, and we pass these things down. That's why it's so important for people to invest in skills like this book, something that can teach them proper relationship development, especially among the black community. Because one of the things we dislike, we don't like counselors. We don't, we deal with the church a lot, but there's a lot of bad relationship development there too. Not that I'm knocking the church, because it has its goods and its bads, just like anything in this world. But we have to remember that when we're dealing with a spouse, we have to think about this. Now, is some of these arguments that they're having with you, or some of these problems that we're having, did it come from their parents? One easy way to find out is spending time with their parents. If their parents are having the same arguments, and the dad is responding aggressively to the wife, then that will be a tall tale sign that most likely the son's going to be aggressive towards the wife. Right? Mm-hmm. Or if he's very affectionate with the mother, then a lot of times, not always, because we are our own individuals, but what we're saying in this book is that you have to look at that and examine that and figure out, okay, how do we navigate this? How do we fix this? Because if, say for instance, you can go on a relapse. Say you've been with your husband a while and y'all worked through that aggression that his father tends to show to his wife. If the son starts spending a lot of time with his mother and father again, and he sees that aggression, it could be like a relapse to him. Then he'll start getting aggressive with you, right? Or say the mother has no respect for the husband. He talks to him very rude and very disrespectful, right? And then the daughter, she feel like that's proper relationship etiquette, if I could use that term. You know what I'm saying? So we have to look in a relationship and realize that, hey, if these issues are affecting our relationship, how do we navigate? How do we fix that? How do we work through that? What do you think? A good way. What would you tell a couple if the son has a tendency to just be downright mean and disrespectful to his wife, and he learned that from his father, and he constantly sees that from his father? How do you think that relationship can fix that problem?
Talk about how it made him feel, and I would say, think about how it made you feel seeing your mother go through that. Mm-hmm. Think about the feeling. Think about the hurt. Think about how she felt. Do you want your wife to feel the same? Mm-hmm. So it will be a change that he will have to make on his own. Mm-hmm. He couldn't make that change by just the wife saying, "I want you to change," mm-hmm. because he's not going to change like that. He have to want to change within himself to be able to overcome that.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of times, and I say this to my wife from time to time, is that, all the time, okay. I say this to my wife is that you can't fix what you can't see, right? Because sometimes it's like this, and I hope you don't get bad for me using this example. You guess, all right. I can edit it out if it bothers you. All right, lady, just tell me after I say it and I'll make another example. Back when we first opened our daycare, all right.
Oh, I knew you was going to use that.
Because it's the perfect example to me.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example. So back when we first got our daycare, we invested a lot of money into our daycare, right? And my wife kind of got a little nervous because of how much money we invested in our daycare. It was up there, But we had a good plot of land. We're talking about an acre, almost an acre of land, right? And I was out there with the pushing this lawnmower, trying to cut this grass. And, we had just got the property, so the grass was thick, man. And I was sitting there like, man, I need to go buy me a riding lawnmower. Shorty over here thinking I'm just wanting to ball out and just go buy me a riding lawnmower because I got a little money and I got my own business, so I want to be out there on a riding lawnmower. You whoop de whoop. So I cut it the first time. Man, it took me a couple hours to cut that grass. And when it got time to cut it again, I was like, okay, we're going to have to figure this out. We'll have to figure this out. I said, you know what? I'm not doing this by myself. I'm going to put Miss Clemens behind this lawnmower. And boy, she got behind that lawnmower and started having to go up and down them hills. And she said, oh, baby, we got to get a ride lawnmower. I'm like, oh, but when I wanted to get a ride lawnmower, it was a problem. But the point of it is sometimes you don't understand until you actually put your hands on it, until you actually feel it yourself. And that's not any knock against her. That's just human reality. You know what I'm saying? Now, back then, I was upset with her. But now that I have the experience that I have now, I understand that's just human. That's just humanity. That's just the way we are. You see? So it's the same way in that relationship. I think that's the point you was trying to make. That was a long, drawn-out explanation. But the point is, in order for your spouse to really understand the problem that you're going through, they have to be able to see it. So sometimes don't get frustrated when you're telling them this and it's not clicking. You got to figure out a way to show them. You know what I'm saying? In a respectful, you know what I'm saying, nice way. Don't hang it over their head. Don't be sarcastic with it. But in a loving way, without even telling them, put them in your shoes.
This is why they say action speaks better than words.
Yep, action speaks louder than words, man. Because you could talk till you're blue in your face, but until you get that action, until a person actually feels what you're going through, it's hard for them to really connect.
Understand.
Yeah, to really understand. So, and we can't. So that tells us we can't expect the perfect mate. If the husband's mother and father don't have a perfect relationship, don't expect you to have a perfect relationship, because they're going to bring down some of those good and bad things that they learned from their parents. That's why we as parents got to be very meticulous when it comes to raising our children and try to hit all these avenues, right? All right, let's keep going. So, and then it continues on to say, we bring a lot of baggage into our relationship. It is unhealthy to bring old problems into a new relationship. This is a big one. This is a big one, man, because, and I know I'm a male, so I see things from a male's point of view a lot. But there's a lot of women that has been broken by bad men. There's a lot of women that have baby daddies that are bad men. I don't necessarily want to say all of them are bad men, but immature, right? There are these women that are immature themselves, correct? And they get in a relationship with men that are immature themselves, and then they have children, and the children suffer. And then what tends to happen, and I'm using this single mom scenario, tends to happen as time progresses, they break up, she move on, she get in a relationship with another man, and this man may be a mature, very good man. But a lot of times these women are not prepared for these relationships because they bring in all that old baggage from what the bad man did or that immature man did in their life. You know what I'm saying? And it causes them not to be able to move forward in their relationship. Baggage is a serious thing, and we have to recognize it if we're going to be successful in our relationship. Over the past 20 years, she's brought baggage, I brought baggage, and we've had to sort through it. You can't just sweep it under the rug, right? You got to hit that stuff head on, you know, with compassion and understanding, and also patience. Patience in the relationship. Which leads me on to the next part, the next section that I want to briefly talk about. Right? Well, it's not the next section, but it leads me to another section that is called ownership. Let me go down here and find it. Because when you bring in baggage in your relationship, you have to take ownership of your baggage. And a lot of people don't want to take ownership. You can speak at any time.
When you come into a relationship with baggage, I feel that before you got into that relationship, you have to heal yourself. You have to take a step back and work on yourself to heal that broken heart before entering a fresh relationship. Because you won't give that relationship all that it can be. This can be the relationship that you be with the rest of your life. But by you having that baggage, it's like you're fighting against that. So it's better to cleanse yourself, look within yourself, fix yourself before entering a fresh relationship.
All right, so I want to read this section in the book that's called Ownership. It goes like this. Self-destruction is a major conspirator in many divorces. We often sabotage our relationships with things as simple as pride, sexual gratification, selfishness, and countless other reasons. I think the number one reason people sabotage their relationship is because they were neither ready nor prepared for the commitment and work needed to maintain a healthy, thriving, lifelong relationship. And I think that kind of sums it up when it comes to baggage, because you have to be prepared for a relationship. You have to be prepared for marriage. And people, I think, has a misconception that when you get married, that it's off to the sunset. You know, everything's gonna be fine. You know, we walk around, oh, I want to be married. I want to be married. You know, I'm getting my wedding, and I probably shouldn't bring up that, but. They're ready to have their wedding, pick the dress out, the yada, yada, yada. But they have not taken any time to deal with relationship development, ownership, all these issues that you have in a relationship that can be avoided a lot of times if you take care of the baggage. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody should get married if they have old baggage.
Right.
They have old problems, old issues, old things in their that hurts in their heart. If you're finding yourself sitting at home, drinking a glass of wine in a dark room, listening to some music, and depressed about something somebody did to you in the past, you can't move forward. I don't think you can move forward. Because I think not only your heart is not ready to move forward, but you could possibly damage the spouse. You could possibly damage the person you're trying to get in a relationship with. Because there's nothing more frustrating than to be the person that is suffering for something somebody else did.
Right.
You know, and I think that's what happens a lot of times. We blame our current spouse, or we make our current spouse suffer for things that our previous spouse did, our previous partner did in a relationship.
Yeah. If you're feeling that way, I think it's best for you to go talk to your spouse and saying, I'm feeling these feelings. I'm still hurting from this. It still bothers me. You know, it's best to always go back to the beginning. Like we always say, communication. Talk to them. Let them know what's going on with you. Don't just hide it.
Yeah.
Communication is better than anything.
Yeah. Proper communication.
Proper communication.
Proper communication. And in this book, I also wrote about the copycat game. You know, the copycat game is vital. It's vital into having proper communication in a relationship. I'm telling you, you need it. You need communication, man. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I think people are hurt so bad that they have a problem communicating because they're so frustrated and they're so angry and they don't even know why they're angry. They don't know why they're frustrated. And then they take it out on their spouse, and the spouse has nothing to do with why they're angry and frustrated. It's because they have wounds in their heart. They're broken. There's things that happened in their past that's resurfacing. Mm-hmm. You know, something somebody could have did to you. You know, somebody could have raped you when you was a child. And when they was raping you, there was a certain incense burning in the house. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden you went over a friend's house and you smelt that same incense. That, you know what I'm saying? It sparks that smell, or something you see sparks back that bad memory. And then you go home to your husband or your wife. And then you're mad and you're frustrated and you're taking it out on them. And sometimes people don't even recognize that's what it is. Mm-hmm. But we have to heal those wounds. You know what I'm saying? We have to heal those wounds. There's a section in the book called Broken Heart where we talk about, healing the brokenness of heart, you know. There's so many things when you start talking about relationships, man. That's why we got this book that we're doing. Volume 1, we're working on Volume 2 as we speak. Volume 3, I already have the idea for. We're going to work on that. We're going to really keep releasing these volumes because when you talk about relationship, it's so wide, man. There's so many things that could be causing a problem in a relationship, and people, they'll quit and they'll give up, and they don't realize it's some of the simple things that are destroying your relationship. You know, and I'm going to tell you this. Anybody that's been married more than once or been in a relationship more than once will tell you that they tend to see the same problems in every relationship. Yeah. And if you're seeing the same problems in your relationship as you saw in the last relationship and the relationship before that, then the other person is not the problem. The problem's inside of you. And you have to be man or woman enough or mature enough to say, hey, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong in a relationship? And one of the key things that I always say, there's no room for selfishness in a relationship. And what's going on inside of yourself is destroying the relationship that you have with another person, then there's a selfish issue going on. Not saying that you can't, you need to heal, right? We have to heal ourselves. In order for any of these tools to work, we have to start the inner healing, right? Well, anyways, this DC Teddy. It's my sugar bear with her pretty self. We're going to do some more of these videos and talk to you about relationships. This one has gotten a little bit out of hand. But in about 16 minutes, I'm going to do some chopping and get that thing down, okay? We hope you have a blessed day.
You are my soulmate, soulmate. Baby girl, that's a fact. We might hit a rough patch, but we gonna bounce right on back. You're my soulmate, soulmate. Everybody gon' see that we were meant to be. You are my soulmate, soulmate. Baby girl, that's a fact. We might hit a rough patch, but we gonna bounce right on back. You're my soulmate, soulmate. Everybody gon' see that we were meant to be.